Good morning. My name is Reverend Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I want to welcome you here today. Thank you for joining us on this glorious morning. So if you were here last week, it was winter. And here we are, summer, spring in New Mexico. What a glorious opportunity to know that things change quickly. So thank you for bringing your love into this space this morning. Hi. Hi. Good morning. I don't even know if you couldn't hear that online. We got honked at. We're not sure why, but we did. Good morning. All right, so it's fun to have you guys here this time of year. Last year we hadn't quite figured out how to do this outdoor thing yet, and so you guys missed this beautiful blooming thing right here. And everyone's asking. So it's called a Lady Banks rose, and it will be beautiful and blooming for about 2 weeks, and then it will just grow and grow and grow. So it's a desert rose, and it loves it here, and it's famous because all of the people online can see it. So they like to see the branches in the field. Yeah, here we go. We're gonna show you. So it's fun to have that experience of going through all of these cycles together and being outdoors, because there's something different that happens when we're not protected and indoors and climate controlled. We don't have to think too much about what's going on. And it's really interesting to remember how connected we are to the time of year and what's going on outside all the time. And so I'm just grateful that we're here together this morning. I'm grateful it's warm, honestly. I'm ready for that. I'm grateful it's not yet windy. Hear that's coming later today. So thank you for bringing your love and your light into this space this morning. And we're going to start with some prayer. If you're comfortable just closing your eyes. We're going to bring ourselves present to the beauty of this day, as we recognize the power and the presence of the one moving through all of it, through the things that feel like they're resolved or resolving themselves, and the things that still feel unsettled or unknown. I just recognize in the midst of all of it is this power and this presence that's just is. And we don't need to do anything to it. We don't need to control it. We don't need to change it. And so we just let it. And I know that letting allows for grace and wisdom and beauty to show up. And I welcome it. I'm on the lookout for what happens when we let what is and our connection with Spirit just be easy and natural. And so I just lean into that. I let the sweetness of this day unfold, and I let it be. And so it is.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun up in the sky, well, you know how I feel. Breezes drifting by, well, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, well, you know how I feel. River running free, well, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean. Butterflies are having fun, well, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that is what I mean. This old world is a new world and a bold world Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, well, you know how I feel. Freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
So to prepare for our meditation this morning, I've chosen a poem that is a prayer that is a poem. So this is, oh God, I don't know how to pray because I do not know what it means to pray properly, to pray in such a way as to serve and to worship. I must offer what I have and can do as my prayer. And here it is. Let this posture be the prayer. Let this intention be the prayer. Let this very not knowing be the prayer. Let this breath be the prayer. Let this resistance and discomfort be the prayer. Let this distraction be the prayer. Let this drinking of tea be the prayer. Let this eating of breakfast be the prayer. Let this hectic schedule be the prayer. Let this attempt at remembrance be the prayer. Let the steps walked in silence across the parking lot be the prayer. Let the bird song noted be the prayer. Let this poor journal writing be the prayer. Let the vastness of the night sky be the prayer. Let worrying and then dropping the worry be the prayer. Let chanting and dancing and reading be the prayer. Let dressing and undressing be the prayer. Let sleeping and sleeping and rising be the prayer. Let missing someone be the prayer. Let memories and whispered calls for help be for others be the prayer. Let the opening the door and the putting on and taking off of shoes be the prayer. Let the keeping of simple order be the prayer. Let the celebration of light and darkness be the prayer. Let warmth and cold be the prayer. All of it. All of it. Not bad, not good, just as it is. Just as wondrous. All of it be the prayer. Oh God, in my helplessness, from nowhere with nothing, let these poor prayers as flowers draw you to the garden from which their fragrance arises. Amen. And so we let this meditation be the prayer, and we let it move us today.
That was a John Bartlett tune. Here's a tune by Thelonious Monk. One, two, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, guys. Music. I realize that I am wrapped up over here, which isn't going to work really well. There we go. All set. Yep, we're good now. So over the last few weeks, I've had a revelation started to percolate up in me. And I haven't actually spoken about this out loud, not even to Zephyr. So if it doesn't make any sense, don't blame me. This is the beginning of trying to figure out how to talk about this. But what I've realized, and this seems kind of strange, but is that I've really, really, really been trying too hard. And so I don't mean like the kind of like doing your best at life, and that we should always do that. I'm talking about the kind of like making things really difficult, like totally forgetting my connection on some level, and then deciding that I have to plan it all and create it all and pray right and do all this stuff and get it right, and all of that torture, right, that we put ourselves through. And I have this revelation that I've just made it too damn hard. Like the life that and love that sent us here didn't mean for us to make it this freaking complicated. Like, it's ridiculous, the kind of mental torture we put ourselves through. And we do it in this way that where we think it's just normal, right? We think that that's just how human beings are, because we live in a culture that says we're supposed to be neurotic, right? And there's this really deep sense in me where I'm realizing like that it's time for us to really like let go into an understanding that our connection and the connection that sent us here is so deep and so abiding that we cannot ever get it wrong. And that when we start to really live into that, all of the kind of mental machinations that we used to have to go through to think that we had to get it right kind of just fall away. And I've been thinking about this experience I had watching my goddaughter when she was really little. So she had two older brothers and was always really interested in keeping up with them. And she was tiny. I don't even think she was 3 yet. And she was riding her bike behind her brothers in this cul-de-sac they lived in. And she was going so fast. And, thank God she was wearing a helmet. And I was watching. And, I couldn't tell what was going to happen. She was, I thought there was no way she was going to not just crash and burn, because she just wanted to keep up so bad. And watching her, though, there was this point where instead of crashing and burning, what happened was the tricycle part, the training wheels on her bike just flew off. And all of a sudden, she's riding her bike like her brothers, and she's right up there with them. And I always think of that when I think about all of these things that we do that we think we need to do, the training wheels that start us off. And then there's some point where we start going fast enough where we don't need them anymore. And there's a lot of the mental machinations, the things that I think we needed to learn or get straight in our heads that were necessary at some point. But then at that point where you just start living into it, you don't need it anymore. The tricycle wheels or the training wheels, not the tricycle wheels, that would be dangerous. The training wheels just fly off. And I just love that image, right? Like that what the things that we have learned can take us so far. And then at some point in that process, we have to be willing to let those be just training wheels and let us go deeper in it. And so I think about this a lot, especially when I realize that I've spent a lot of my life learning how to pray. Right? Like I was part of a philosophy that taught a very specific form of prayer, and I taught it to other people, and we practiced it, and we tested people on it, and we had this very clear idea that that's the way it was supposed to be. And all along, I'm like, wait a minute. These are training wheels. These are training wheels. This is just the start. This is just a start for us to remember how we're really wired, how connected we really are, so that when we get to that point where we're really breathing into it and living into it, all of that form, all of that idea we had, all of the mental machinations don't matter, because we're already always praying. It's already there. And I just love the beauty of that, because it's totally, completely about the fact that it's just who we are. It's innate to who we are, that we are just wired for connection. We are connected with the infinite that sent us here. And there is absolutely nothing we need to fix. There's nothing we need to do. There's nothing we need to learn. There's not some special formula. Like, really, it's all it is our training wheels. All those things that we've learned are just training wheels to get us back into remembering that every single thing we do is a prayer. That every single breath we take is a prayer. That every single thought we have is creative and powerful and perfect, even if it's negative. Oh, I know I'm going to get thrown out of New Thought, but here I am, already thrown out. So what are they going to do? So here you go, right? Like, here's the beauty of this is that if we really open ourselves into this, like into the idea that there's nothing outside of this moment that needs to be different, that we start to really breathe and live into what all of the master teachers before us told us about our connection and all that stuff that we were trying to remember along the way. So Audre Lorde said that when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. It becomes less and less important. And I realized that that's one of those things that happens when the training wheels start to come off. It's like it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. It becomes less and less important what I think about what's going to happen. And so that's why I started with that prayer poem that's all about like just letting that which we are experiencing be our prayer. And that when we do that, something when we open to that idea, something magical happens where we really open to the kind of prayer that's about communion, that's about really remembering our connection instead of trying to control the infinite. So that's what's so interesting, right? Like when we start to think about all of the things that we do mental machinations about, so many of them are about control, right? All of the things that we have made so freaking difficult is often about this desire to try and control outcome, to make it look a certain way. And there's something that happens when we let go of that and really open to the idea that what is being created and opened and allowed for doesn't need that, doesn't need our fingers in it, trying to control it and change it. And so I've been thinking about this just from the perspective of like all of the things I've made too difficult. That if I had just remembered my connection, if I had just let go of my need to control, if I had just breathed into the moment instead of letting my mind go off in whatever direction, that really that was all that was necessary. And that there's all kinds of things that I've created that didn't need to be there. And I hope I'm not the only one, because I think what's really interesting about this is that when we start to catch ourselves doing it, it becomes really clear how often we actually are doing that, right? How often we're making a problem where there really isn't one. Or how often we're taking a minor inconvenience and turning it into some grand catastrophe that's going to ruin everything. And I just realized that there's so much more for us to experience here as these beings that have been shot here through eternity to do something more than worry, right? And we can worry, and worry can be our prayer too, but really like that this sense in which we really own the fact that we don't need to make this hard, that we really like we're wired and connected and full of this infinite wisdom, and that we can just let it be. There's this freedom that comes from really understanding that and letting it be. And I realize that there's a lot of layers to this, and there's a lot of layers of like realizing how much of the stories that we've told ourselves about how broken we are, or how broken our lives are, or the things that we've done wrong, how all of that has created this wiggly, weird maze that we have to go through every time we want to find ourselves back to ourselves. Like, we have to go through this maze of all of these stories we have to tell about how that turn we made back there was the wrong one. And what I realize about the wisdom of remembering how connected we are is that we remember, on some level, there's something inside of us that knows that right where we made that turn, the infinite was right there too. That God was right there in that place that we thought went drastically wrong. And that there is like this ability to step back and to hold ourselves in a space that doesn't need to continuously see ourselves as broken. And every time I deepen in this, I find more places where I've somehow bought into a lot of bullshit lies about what it means to be here, what it means to be human, what it means to make choices and make changes and make mistakes. And this sense in which we have to be willing to not only let our lives be a prayer, but let ourselves be prayed. And there's this deep sense in which, when we stop our need to control, right, our need to make an outcome happen in some particular way, that the infinite inside of us can figure out a way to pray through us into being what needs to happen. And there's just this shift in where that energy is coming from that opens up a whole nother realm of experience. And I just feel like in this time of great change that we're all experiencing, that there's these training wheels that are being asked for us to get going fast enough that they fly off, so that we can really start to experience that sense of communion that allows ourselves to be prayed and allows us to step out of how difficult we've made everything and actually remember how connected we are. How connected we are, how perfect we are, how whole we are. And so I used to say all those words, not really believing them on some level. And this revelation that I'm experiencing in this deeper way is this deep realization that those words mean something different than I thought they did. And what they really mean is about this connection that we can never lose, that can never go anywhere, that can never be broken in any way, that is always there, that is present in you as fully as it was on the day you were born, on the day the infinite decided to bring you here. And it's so freaking beautiful just to be in the presence of just remembering that. And sometimes we can't see it for ourselves, right? We make it so damn difficult that we can't see ourselves in that. And so that's why it's so important to have people around you who can see it for you. And to strive also just to see ourselves in the eyes of that the divine sees us in. And so one of the things that I love to do is talk to kids about all of this stuff. Because one, I like to hear what kids think about God and love and peace and possibilities and wholeness. But I also love how when we get back to the heart of things, when we get back to the perfection of things in ourselves, the words just become so simple, right? It becomes less difficult to talk about. And so I remember a few years ago talking to a little kid, and we weren't actually, I think we were talking about Spider-Man. because, of course, we were talking about Spider-Man. And he started to tell me just about the power and that he saw in Spider-Man. And then we started to talk about whether that power was in him too, right? Where that magic that he was experiencing, he could see in him as well. And you know, you can see that when the twinkle in the eye happens. And we had that moment where I was like, you get it. You know, he understood that somehow I understood how he was seeing it, that he was seeing that magic, not only in Spider-Man and in himself, but in everyone. And what a joy to be in the presence of that kind of energy, right? That kind of remembrance. And we get to do that, and how healing that is in the world, especially right now. To be walking around seeing the perfection and the wholeness and the love in the people everywhere, no matter what they're going through. No, and even because of what they're going through. Not when they get to the other side of that, or when this is healed, or when that's done, or whatever that story we're telling, but like right now. And how beautiful it is to remember how healing that is to know, and how what kind of healing presence we can be when we stop making it so damn hard. Right? When we stop making it so difficult, when we stop telling the stories about all of the ways that we've separated ourselves, or other people have separated themselves, or whatever that story could possibly be. And we just realize that all of that is nonsense. And that our essential connection is real and powerful and ever present, and that there's nothing we have to do or learn or change in order for it to be. And when we really just open to that, which is so difficult, honestly, on some other level, because we've just become so ingrained in the idea that it is difficult. But so simple just to remember that we open up this whole level of healing, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us, because we're no longer needing to control them and make them different than they are in order for them to be loved like they deserve to be loved, in order for them to be the love that they are, in order for us to be the love that we are. And everything shifts. And then everything's a prayer. And then every conversation's a prayer. And every trip to the grocery store is a prayer. And every single breath is a prayer. And every wrong turn is a prayer. And everything. And it's all about it always already being that way. Whether we saw it or not, it was already always that way. And so I'm just encouraging us all to practice this on a deeper level, to let some of our idea about how difficult things have to be maybe be set aside for a moment, so that we can really experience on a deeper level what it would mean for us to remember how connected we are, and to be reminded of our essential nature, and to allow for that kind of connection and wisdom that we so crave, without realizing that it's already completely present, and really letting that come alive in us. And so I had all kinds of stories and other things here, but apparently Spirit had another idea for today. So I do have one last poem, though, to share with you. And this is a Mary Oliver poem that I believe for me speaks to this sense of the place that I'm finding myself. And I've got clips and I've got everything going on here, and that's all right. All right, so this is a Mary Oliver poem entitled What I've Learned So Far. That's what I've learned so far. It's on the floor. It's all good. Meditation is old and honorable. And so why should I not sit every morning of my life on the hillside looking out into the shining world? Because properly attended to, delight as well as havoc is suggestion. Can one be passionate about the just, the ideal, the sublime, and the holy, and yet commit no labor to its cause? I don't think so. All summations have a beginning. All effect has a story. All kindness begins with a sown seed. Thought buds toward radiance. The gospel of light is the crossroads of indolence or action. Be ignited or be gone. And so that's that place where we move, right? Where we move from the idea that everything has to be difficult into the kind of ignite place, the place where we are ignited by the power and the presence inside of us and that connection, and there's no limits to that. And so I'm going to ask the band to come on up because we're going to anchor this in prayer, not some formulaic, silly idea of how it has to look that you will be tested on later, but the kind of prayer that's just the remembering. And so we just allow ourselves, as we sing into this prayer, to allow maybe some place in our lives where we've been making things too difficult, where we forgot that the one is in charge, that we forgot how connected we are. We forgot our wholeness. We forgot our perfection. We forgot the love that we are. And we're just going to allow Spirit in so that we may be prayed. And so please join me as we sing into our prayer.
Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free.
And so our prayer of love today is a prayer of remembrance. As we remember that there's absolutely no way in which we are disconnected from the infinite, that it is the very source and supply and love within us. And I just open to the deep remembrance that exists inside of me, that there is absolutely no limits to what that connection can do and provide and create. And so I step outside of my little idea of my own personal brokenness. And I recognize that the infinite sees through eyes that are so much bigger and clearer than anything I could have ever put upon myself. And I let myself be free from those ideas that keep on keeping me, making things more difficult than they need to be. Keep on making me tell stories that aren't true. Keep on making me feel limited in any way. And I just recognize that all of it is holy. That my doubt is holy, my confusion is holy, my questions, and even my brokenness or my belief in my brokenness, all of it is holy. And not one single part of it could have ever kept me from the love of the infinite. And I let go of every shred of idea that I've picked up along the way that made it feel like that in any way. And right there is the prayer of remembering that is just so real and so powerful that no words are necessary. That nothing needs to be healed anymore because healing already happened. And nothing needs to be controlled because everything is in a perfection that is just so beautiful, that all that really needs to happen in it is for us to be in awe of it, to be grateful, and to say yes. And so just let Spirit move. I remember that connection in a way that is deeper than ever before, and I let that connection guide. I remember there's no right way to do it. And I just let it be. And so it is.
A prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us.
So thank you so much for sharing some of your beautiful Sunday with us here. Thank you for bringing your love and your remembrance into this space. There are baskets hanging in the trees. If you're interested in making a donation here in person, there's also a place on our website, onespiritualcenter.org, where you can make a donation there as well. Thank you for your continued love and support that allows for us to continue to play together and create together. We have a special treat today besides the bagels over here on the table. One of our community members named Shannon Kupka has been saving seeds for the last few years. She and her husband have started a farm down in the South Valley, and so she sent a bunch of seeds that are second generation or third generation from New Mexico seeds, which is helpful because then they already know how to grow here. So I believe that there are sunflowers and carrots and cherry tomatoes and all kinds of different seeds out there. They're all labeled. So please take as many as you wish. Yes, thank you. I will let Shannon know you are grateful. There was clapping, Shannon. They watch online right now until vaccinations happen for their families. So thank you so much for thinking of us and your One Spiritual Center community and spreading that around. So please help yourself. There are tons of them. Do not be shy. Share them around. Also, if you have people who you think would appreciate them. And I believe that the only last reminder is that we will be back at Roadrunner Food Bank together in June, the fourth Saturday in June. And then from then on, we'll be back in the regular rotation doing that every fourth Saturday. So we're excited about being able to do that again safely. Yeah. So let us sing.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is fear, hear that diesel humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board out. There's room for all that love and roll. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
And we have one last blessing to sing to one another.